Hello, and welcome to Tales from a Sex Store. I'm Hazel, and I'm here with my co-host, Billy McWilliams.
Hello, hello.
Good morning, Billy. How are you?
Better to see your sweet face.
Oh, better to see you. I still keep thinking maybe one day we'll switch to...
Yeah. Nobody wants to see my basement.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, it's nice and quiet, though.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I have a story.
perfect. I would love to hear your stories.
Okay. Well, let's start a story from this weekend, okay? So, I'm opening on Sunday at like 11, and two very nice women came in, and they were clearly pretty tipsy. In fact, they specifically said, we were having mimosas.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all over each other, just, and I would say middle aged, right? And they're like, we're business owners. And then looks at me and says, and my husband,
Oh, yes.
yeah, my husband knows about us. And the other one was like, yeah, my husband knows about us too.
Good.
So it's like, it's a lavender wedding. It's like, she said, I didn't know that I was into women until I was in the women. And
Right.
now we found each other. And they're friends, and they just had a nice, fun, giggly time.
I love that.
Yeah, and the fact that their husbands are okay with it.
Right?
Yeah, it just tells you that there's all kinds of relationships, and that's what people tell me. I can't imagine all the stuff that they don't tell me. Or actually, I can't imagine. It's pretty, it's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the other story is a little older, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So one day I'm working and this guy comes in through the back door, or excuse me, rear entrance, and he's looking around and he's really nervous. And then he leaves, right? And he's like an older guy in his 60s, and he's got a handlebar mustache, and he's got Carhartts on. And the way he walks like a cowboy, a broken up cowboy. You could just tell. He didn't have a hat, but everything but. And he's wandering around, and then the second time he comes in, he buys some gay porn, and, yeah, of course, I sell it, and, he leaves, and then he comes back later on and says, "My wife of 40 years passed away, and I always wanted to have sex with a guy. Do you think anybody wants to have sex with me?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, yeah."
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. Somebody wants to have sex with you. A cowboy? Yeah, that's a get.
Totally.
"How do I do it?" he says, right? I said, "Well, do you have a smartphone?" And he's like, "What's that?" Well, we got a ways. So he showed me his phone. I said, "Well, get Grinder or Tinder and set up a profile." And he came back later on and he says, "Well, I'm worried about my kids." I said, "Make a Tinder, set it to gay, put it in your apps in the way back of your phone, and have a bomber, a really good password." So he did. And he came back about a week later and he said, he was so excited. He was like, I'm gonna meet some guy in Livingston.
Ooh, that's
So
good.
yeah, I didn't hear the end of the story. He didn't come back and say, "Oh, I had great sex with this guy." But it was pretty cool that this guy waited for so long. And he was so faithful to his wife. And then, well, maybe, who knows? Um, but he did. He got his satisfaction.
That's
Yeah.
good. Hopefully.
Well, I hope he did. I don't know. I don't know. If Cowboys are big fantasies.
Yeah.
And, I just can't help but think the whole myth of cowboys is like pretty far off. Just in, it's like they've made it so sanitized and heteronormative.
Right.
And the original cowboys were Mexican or African American. And you wonder about guys who like to be in the company of all men all the time and travel on all these long journeys. you have to think that they had sex, or at least a certain percentage of them did.
Right.
It's because you go to the places where you can become sexually successful in your world
Right.
sometimes, if you have that kind of drive.
Totally. That reminds me of I learned okay, so I studied the classics, right? Literature. And
Right.
one of the things that I learned through my studies was how heteronormative the presentation of Greek literature was. When in fact, Achilles, this story of Troy and this god of war of men, right? Like
Hmm.
half deity, half man.
Gay as fuck.
Well, kind of. So there
Hmm.
was there was the warrior, and like with the military today, they had battle buddies, basically.
Sure.
So Achilles had his buddy, Patroclus,
Yeah.
and historically speaking, they didn't bring women because women would be a distraction. But you also slept with your buddy
Yeah.
when you needed to get your wiles out. You were there for each other through everything.
Right. It wasn't defined as somebody being gay. It's just guys getting off.
Right, right. And I mean,
Yeah.
there are stories of this about the Greeks, that's the reason we call anal Greek, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like
Yeah.
you could have a wife, but there were appropriate times where you had sex with men, you know,
Yeah.
and you would just like go to the spaces where that was appropriate, if that was
Yeah.
your leaning.
Sexuality just has to express itself.
It was so much more fluidly.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, it's like specifically defined you are gay, or if you're bi, you're really gay. But, you know, people are like,
Mm,
oh, I'm bi. Oh, you mean you're gay? You just don't want to say you're gay. That's the perception. I don't believe that's the reality.
totally. That's by erasure, right?
Exactly.
And that denies the fluidity
Yeah.
of sexuality.
Sexuality, yeah. And like that woman was saying earlier, she was like, I didn't know. I didn't know I was into it.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, she showed me her panties, and that was it.
Right.
Just like that. It was just fun to watch. It was just fun to see their interplay and their happiness with each other. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that happens as a person matures, right? You start off with all of these strict gender rules and presentations. And as you get older, you just sort of like,
right. Yeah. Who taught you that and why?
right. And then you get
Yeah.
older and you just stop having the energy to care so much, you know?
Well, yeah. And they put a lot of energy and time into making you feel guilty. I think when I say they, I mean general society. They teach you all these things to feel like there's something wrong with you, like when you touch yourself. Don't touch yourself, right? Or that masturbation is wrong.
Right.
Yeah. Back to the shame based world that we don't want to live in.
Right. Exactly. It's just interesting that as I've matured, as a zennial or elder millennial or whatever,
Yeah.
I had all of these preconceived notions of how I was supposed to behave. And then I got older and I saw the people who I thought were personifying those things, who kind of like made me feel like I had to also behave in these
Yeah.
strict ways, were the ones who swung so far away from that propriety line, right?
Right. And those are the ones you admire. Those are the ones that turn you on.
Right. And then they swing and they're
They're
like,
brave.
right. And then it's just like, well, heck yeah, I'll do that too. I'll like let my freak flag fly. Freak flag fly.
Yeah.
It's a tongue twister. You
Yeah.
did that successfully a
Absolutely.
couple podcasts ago, and I was like, how did you do that? Freak flag fly. Freak flag fly.
Yeah. It's fun just looking at young people and having conversation with them. I see that when I talk to customers and they're like, God, your coworkers are so great. They're so wonderful. They do such a great job. They make me feel so good. And it's like, oh, it's just such a joy because I know that it's like people feel good about coming into my sex store. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that, yeah. And they understand that, like, most people feel uncomfortable and find a ways of non-judgment and fun and interesting, and it's 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 great. It's universal. People wanna be desired, and
Right.
it never ends.
And accepted and made to feel like their desires aren't abnormal.
Yeah. No, actually, yeah, and they almost always fall in s realm of normal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the history of, Miss Kitty's, which was the old-style sex store in the same location where Erotique is, and Erotique was founded in 2007. Miss Kitty's was started in 1981 by a man named John Bauer. Father John Bauer, he's a Catholic priest who came out. He was ordained in Bozeman in 1963. I read his autobiography, which is unpublished.
Unpublished?
And unpublished, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
No, in fact, the name of it was Confessions of a Porno
Oh
Priest.
my goodness.
Yeah, he was in Playboy. Playboy did a little segment
Oh,
on him.
wow.
Yeah, so he's a Bozeman guy, and he ordained, and then he in 1966, he went to, Helena and became head of Catholic Charities for Montana. And then he came out, moved to Bozeman, started the sociology department, and started LAMDA, the first gay rights organization at Montana State University. And this would be in the mid 70s. It's probably closer to 70, 76, 77, 78. And then in 1981, he started a bookstore, quote unquote, and got a business license and opened up. And then that's when the firestorm happened.
Mm.
Everybody was like, oh, they took the business license away and he got sued, and a very good lawyer beat him. And so they stayed open. But the hearing was fascinating. I see pictures of it. There was like 400 people. They're like, downtown Bozeman's going to turn into a crack infested horror zone full of bestiality and pedophilia, and it's going to destroy our little mountain town.
Wow.
A rhetoric like that was common. So, yeah, people were really freaked out because all of a sudden a store like that opens up.
Wow.
And of course, it didn't happen. But same kind of repression happens these days, too. It's just more subtle because it's more socially acceptable
Right.
than it used to be. It's always going to be not, because that's just the nature of sex and sexuality. I was putting some rope lights up yesterday at the store, outside the store, and just watching people as they come by. It's like sometimes it's hey, hi, and then sometimes it's like must not look fun that way. I accidentally dropped the battery, and a woman picked it up. She was with her partner, and I said, hey, can I give you something for that? Can I return the karma? And she's like, what do you mean? I said, I'd like to give you a free vibrator. Completely
Nice.
random. She got out of an Uber, so she's pretty new to Bozeman. I think she was probably going around the corner to Jam. And
Mm.
she's like, oh, yeah, that'd be great. This is my birthday. I'm
Awesome.
like, well, happy birthday. So karma got returned, and the guy shook my hand.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure they'll remember it.
Happy birthday, person.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good birthday gift.
So yeah, in 1981, he named it Miss Kitty's after his cat. He has two cats. One was called Miss
Oh.
Kitty's, and the other one was called Fellatio. We could have named it Fellatio. Let's go down to Fellatios.
Wow. Wow. What a priest.
And it was an old style male-centric sex store. It had
Mm.
explicit pornography, magazines, and 8 millimeter film. And then it had an arcade where people watched movies off of old film projectors.
Wow.
I literally had to lube up the film to put it on the cassette, to put it in the arcades.
Wow.
It was surreal. It was a surreal time.
And when did you start working there again?
Now, I started working there, and I don't remember, somewhere in like 82 or 83, probably 83.
So not long after it opened.
Not long, like 18 months or something like that. The
That's
manager
amazing.
got me a job. One of my dear friends is a gun aficionado, and he met this woman who ran the store called Alex, and Alex needed somebody, and I'm like, why not? I always felt like I didn't want to be a dentist or a lawyer or a doctor and everything like that. That just never fit for me.
Right.
But I felt like, I'm insecure in my sexuality and I want to do something maybe a little edgy, and this would be good for my experience. And here I am.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
Here you are.
I know. And it's been wonderful for my personal growth because it went from I'm insecure because I don't present masculine. Sometimes I come across somewhat feminine, some combination, and get called gay a lot. And I got into a fight with a guy at college, like a scuffle thing, because he was calling me gay and I'm not, even though I can see why people call me gay. That's okay.
Right?
That's what the thing nice thing about it is, like, after all these years, it's like, I don't care. Like you were talking earlier, right? You just don't care anymore.
Right.
And the question is, why should you have cared in the first place?
Right.
Because somebody taught you to feel bad about yourself.
Right.
So someone says, hey, that looks gay. I'm like, thank you.
For real.
Yeah.
Got some flair.
And the fascinating thing to me is I never really realized it, but I think sexuality is a big agent of change in a way that I didn't really understand until years and years later.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so much repression is people are so scared of change. They think that if they do something different sexually, that the world's going to come to an end, and it doesn't. It doesn't. It's like, okay. They're scared of losing their kids. And you know what? They're going to lose their kids because they're not talking honestly about sexuality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's the nature of kids. They grow up, they move out,
Yeah.
they rebel. The more you try and keep them in a little enclosed space when they're growing up, the harder they rebel.
Exactly.
And
The more repression causes more problems than expression.
mhm, and then
Right.
eventually they go off and get away from their family and do whatever they were gonna do in the first place,
Right.
maybe harder.
Right. But there's all that latent guilt, though, on all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's changing, though, too. That's changing, too. While I was putting up lights, one of the fraternity members that I lectured to says, hey, I'm such and such. Do you need help? I'm like, I am not a handyman. I can tell you that. They're handymen. I am not. I climbed up on that fancy ladder that I got from you.
Mhm.
And he's like, here, let me help. And he got it and he helped me and it got done. It was like, it was so nice. It's like when you lecture about sexuality, people, they feel like they know you.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like that. That
yeah.
was really nice of them. Real cool guy. It gives me hope.
That is very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So Miss Kitty's was like, there's a sad end to this story too. Father Bauer was really big into gay rights,
Mhm.
but then he grew marijuana in his front yard in California, and the police raided his house and found 8 millimeter movies of Mexican street boys having sex. And he got thrown in jail and died in prison.
Oh my gosh.
But he was also sexually abused as a kid.
Yeah,
Go figure.
right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that stuff doesn't come out of nowhere. It's that whole cycle.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think it's amazing that something that maybe started from a place of toxic repression became a place of nurturing healthy sexuality. You know what I mean?
right. Both can be true at the same time.
Yep.
Something that is, I mean, genuinely, it was radical back in the 70s to start a gay rights organization. It was radical to teach sociology
Yeah.
and healthy sexuality. It was radical to start a sex store in 1981 in Bozeman, Montana.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And to that extent, I admire his bravery for doing that. And it's just that he was so self-interested and self-absorbed and so damaged that he didn't see past that.
Right.
And he thought and I think that in the end it was selfish.
Yeah.
I get my way, even though, and the whole thing with pedophilia is it's non-consensual.
Yeah, it can't be.
It can't be. Yeah, this is wrong
Mhm.
for lots of reasons.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, developmentally, it's
yeah,
one of the worst things.
exactly. Yeah, and I find that like I see young people coming into the store, wanting to come in the store, sneak in the store, right?
Mhm.
Because it's 18 and only, right? And they're standing in front of the store. We have a little camera in front. And they're like, "You go. No, you go. You go." And they hit the door, and of course I go, "You kids, what are you doing here?"
Right,
And
right.
they leave. And you know what the feeling I get is one of them egged the others on to come in,
Mhm.
and most of them didn't wanna go. It's like,
Right.
yeah, you have your whole life to be sexual. Be a kid.
Totally.
Be a kid.
Totally.
Have fun. You don't need to know all this stuff.
Right.
Comprehensive age-appropriate sex education.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've definitely had my share working there of, you know, what seemed to be middle school or high school kids coming up and, like, opening up the alleyway door and screaming one inappropriate word, and then,
Yeah.
even if it's just like, "Boob," and then they run away
Yeah.
or whatever, but
Oh,
they
yeah.
do, they open the door, scream in a word, and then they run away and
Yeah.
giggle, giggle, giggle. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. "You kids, get off my lawn."
right?
And, even though there's some people who, like, say the word, there's also been some real, legitimate anger and, vandalism. For a few years, there's a group of people who would open the back door and spray a fire extinguisher in the entire store.
Oh, no.
I know it happened like 2 or 3 times, and it just coats everything with it, and it was pretty annoying at the time. Not as bad as somebody who put a bomb in the window. They put a little bomb and blew up the top window. Nobody was hurt. It shattered it, but, rumor was that it was a high school student who
Yike.
did it. So someone actually bombed the store, and somebody actually shot into the store when it first started. A .22, they drove by and they shot at it.
Yike.
Yeah. And then there was a group of guys who were praying in front of the store for a while. Just once, actually. It was like a dozen of them, and they would hold this prayer thing. It was cold. I offered them hot chocolate, but they stood in front of the store and tried to pray us away.
Yeah.
I asked them what they were reading, and they never gave it to me.
Interesting.
I wish I could have talked to a because I wanted to say, you know what? One of you guys has been done or is doing somebody or is really conflicted in their sexuality, and they're using this to talk all you guys into sitting there. And it was all men, right? Sit there and do this. And it's like, deal with your shit.
Right, right. For
Yeah,
sure. The instigators are the ones that are hiding something a lot of the time, right?
absolutely. I mean, what leads you to that, right?
Shame.
What leads shame? Yeah, exactly. Shame and hiding it,
Uh-huh.
and still wanting to do it though, and still doing it maybe.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. But it's funny how it's significantly less controversial than it used to be, especially if you develop it into like a community hub.
Right. Like Erotique.
Yeah, we try. Right. It's fun. It's fun to be part of that culture.
Yeah.
I'm always excited when someone's like, "Wow, I didn't expect that here." 'Cause, with all the visitors we're having, there's always that big city rural, like, "Oh, we're sophisticated people from the coast, and you guys are just stupid yokels." Which it's like, "Okay, we're stupid yokels. How about a butt plug?"
Right, right, for sure. So I remember when I first got hired at Erotique, and actually it was like the last days of Miss Kitty's,
Okay.
and I was the mop person
Yeah.
for the booths.
Yeah. You know what amazes me is how many times people said, "Who cleans those?" And I'm like, "I clean those." It's like it's always that, like,
Mhm.
back to that shame, make you feel bad kind of stuff, right?
Right.
I said, "Hey, it's not blood."
Right. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the old days. That was the old days, yeah. Yeah, I'd have to put metal between the booth walls because, people would carve glory holes. They even brought in a drill to put in a glory hole.
Oh my gosh, like you wouldn't hear that from the front desk.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, turn the music out. It's always that stereo wars, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't miss the booze, but I also think that they were important for what they were,
Right.
where guys can meet other guys or they can get their rocks off because you couldn't get porno anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. So this was a interface. And here we are 40 years later, and we don't have any pornography in the store.
Right.
Crazy. But we have all kinds of other stuff,
Mhm.
much more sophisticated, much more broad based. We didn't have anything that was trans at all.
Right.
And last week, a woman came in and said, "Wow, I didn't know you guys had tuck kits." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, that's pretty cool because I don't usually see those in sex stores." She says, "I'm trans." I'm like, "Okay, great.
Right.
Yeah, we don't sell a ton of them, but you got to represent. You got to let people know that they're okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's part of it. That's part of it.
Right. If there's gonna be one safe space in the whole town.
It's got to be that one. One of them.
Right.
Yeah." And people are like, "Is there a gay bar in Bozeman?" I'm like, not really."
Right. We used to have the Robin, which wasn't really a gay bar, but it was where cruising happened, right?
Oh, total cruising happened.
I loved the Robin.
I did too.
They were
I
great.
did
It
too.
was a great space.
Yeah, guys would sit at the window and watch people come in and out of their Erotique, and they would come in and they would, go into the booth and yeah. And
Right.
you're supposed to the rules were one person per booth,
Right.
but it was very lax.
Right.
Keep the door closed. Don't say anything.
I know more than one person who went in there for a bachelorette party and tried to get as many of the bachelorettes into one booth as they could to watch a
Oh,
movie.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was like a thing in the 90s.
Yeah. That's so tawdry. Oh my god. Yeah, that was fun. But I also think that, like, it's wearing on staff when people come in and out of the door and in and out of the door and
Right.
cruising, 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 cruising. And the funny thing is like, the good ones, you would never know they're cruising, but they're
Right.
cruising.
Mhm.
And I don't see any cruising at the store
Right.
at all.
It's not really conducive to it anymore, though.
No, not really, no. But there's, everybody's on apps now.
That's true.
Yeah, which makes it easier. It also normalizes it
Right.
and also keeps it quiet
And private.
and private, yeah.
You're not in public risking anything. Like, there's not gonna be an altercation when you ask somebody who happens to be homophobic.
Right. I think there's less homophobia than there used to be too. I think it's still there. I think there's a certain subset that's always gonna be there,
Mhm.
but it's less socially acceptable than it used to be.
Right.
And when I'm talking to young men, I'm always like, "Look, women like to have sex," heteronormative for this conversation. Women like to have sex with men who are comfortable with their sexuality.
That's true.
And when you say bad things about other people, they don't wanna have sex with you.
Right.
It's just like if you say something negative about somebody else, regardless of what that is.
Right. The rare bird theory, right, comes around to that a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I have a rare bird theory.
Right, I thought so. Tell me your rare bird theory.
Okay, so I was in Cabo St. Lucas for a bachelor party, which was incredibly drunken. And two very nice women from Canada showed up at the periphery and ended up hooking up with one of the guys there.
Both of them?
Both of them, yeah. I asked the guy, I'm like, how did that happen? How did you attract those women? Right?
Mhm.
There was two 19-year-old Canadian women who were there for the week, and this was their only night out. And he said, well, I do have a theory. I'm like, I'm all ears. How did you do it? And he's like, well, look at me. First, you have to take care of yourself. And second, look what I'm wearing. I have a pair of jeans on and I have a burnt orange designer shirt with a frayed collar. So it stands out. Now, all these guys in the bar, jeans and a t shirt, jeans and a polo, chino and t shirt with a ball cap. They all look the same. So a woman is looking for a potential mate, and she's like, "Oh, same, same, same." And then I stand out. Now, you don't want to be too much like having a big tall hat or big, huge flared jeans to make you look like a clown, but you want to stand out just a little bit. The rare birds theory. So I try to do that when I dress. Dress one way. What's the one thing that sets you off? The things that like coordinated or looks good or something that you make an effort.
Right. The one little thing that pops.
Yeah, that's how you stand out.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, that was fun. Oof,
Oof.
I was drunk.
You were
I
drunk.
drank a lot. I mean, it's like I really feel I had to detox over like 3 or 4 days after the end of it. Yeah, it was fun though.
I have to do that with 2 drinks these days.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny how even one drink gives me a headache now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Including moderation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Billy, I think that's our time for today. I really appreciate you telling all of these lovely stories, the good and the bad and the ugly and the sticky.
Yeah. Thanks for that mental image just now. The store doesn't smell like pine sol now.
It doesn't. That's true. The store does not smell like pine salt. It smells nice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
good. And it's well lit. I love that it's well lit. And that open
yeah,
floor plan, so much nicer.
yeah.
It used to be like labyrinthine
Super intentional. And art.
and art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about all the art that we have at the store
Yeah.
and why it's there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Billy, thank you so much again. This has been Tales from a Sex Store. I'm Hazel, and I'm here with my co host, Billy McWilliams.
Happy orgasms.
Happy orgasms.